afternoon. Dobar dan. Thank you for the invitation. And I know that the expectation for the last presenter is very high to keep the time frame, so I try to keep that. FIRELIFE was the first communication and information project in Hungary. I will not speak about the forest fires here in Croatia or for our Italian partners, because you know it very well that the forest fires have many different effects on the environment. And we know the saying that fire is a good servant, but a bad master. So it's much better to prevent the forest fires in our environment. Some words about the Hungarian forest fires or wildland fires. Wildland fires are the fires which burn out of the forest, but not in industrial areas. In Hungary became the wildland fires a problem in the last 2.5 decades. Before that, we had only surface fires and we hadn't too much Groven fires. And 25 years ago, we had the first Groven fires larger than 100 hectares. So it got a new period in the Hungarian forest protection history. We have two areas, two risky areas in Hungary. We have two fire seasons. One fire season in spring in northern Hungary. We have in this time almost grass fires, but these grass fires spread at the afternoon to the forest. It is a large number of fires, but fortunately these fires are not so large and it's almost surface fires also in the forest. We have other period in summer. It's like in Croatia, in Pinus stands, and the Hungarian Grand Plain here. There are almost Groven fires with a larger scale, and it has more environmental problem. In Hungary, in the last decade, greatly increased the number of fires and also increased the frequency and the fire spread and intensity. The underlying causes are different. We have a longer fire seasons. We have a change in land management. We have decreasing in grazed areas, and it causes increasing in fuel loads. And higher fuel loads mean a higher fire risk. Okay. And in Hungary, increased also the number of the large forest fires, larger than 50 hectares. And if a forest fire is larger than 50 hectares, you need almost other fire suppression techniques. It's not enough just use the water. You need also sometimes the fight fire. But the best, here's some picture about the different in the last 3 decades. It was the type of fire, so the fire behavior 20 years ago. It's a surface fire, flame length up to 5 meters. We could fight it with the classic methods with engines, and how it looked like it in the last years. That is a Groven fires. The former fire breaks don't work anymore. We should change the complete prevention concept in firefighting. And like in Europe and in many parts of the world, also in Hungary, 99% all of fires are caused by humans. So we caused our own forest fires, also short time and long time. And forest fires is only abiotic forest damage which we can prevent with a short time. We can also change our forest stands, again, other abiotic damages. But again, forest fires, we have a technique because we have very large percent of human fires. We need communication and training. The cheapest solution is the training and the communication. Everybody knows that and everybody speaks about that. More expensive are the silviculture methods, what about we heard from our colleagues. More expensive are the prevention infrastructure like fire breaks, water points, fuel breaks. And more expensive, or the most expensive, is the fire suppression. But we have a disadvantage because prevention is invisible and aeroplanes are sexy, silviculture is not. You know, if you need money from the minister or from the ministry, you have to show what you would like to do. And if you tell them that, hey, we would like to do training and communication, training is invisible. If you have good communication, you can go to the light and you can be visible. But for example, silviculture is invisible for the decision makers. So it's a really big fight against sometimes the finance ministry or again your own decision makers to get money for invisible investitions like silviculture. Forest fire is not only a very complex effects to the environment, we have also a very complex financing and responsibility system, not only on the national level, also on the European Union level. Fire prevention, communication and training belong to the Forest Authority, where I'm working, and it's belonged to the Life Plus. It was formerly the Forest Focus from financing, from subsidy side, and it belonged to the DG Environment. Fire prevention, infrastructure development, or water points belong to the forest owners. On the European level, it's belonged to the to the DG Agri, financing rural development plan. Fire suppression, disaster management service, European Union financing tools belong to the DG ECHO, civil protection mechanism. Forest fire research or development belong to the universities or resource institutes. Financing sources, Horizon 2020, and maybe GRC and other directorate. And somewhere, communication and training can help for this whole system to find a common way, because only the common way can help for us as a forest fire management. Each part is very important for us if we don't like to see too much fire in our country. And yeah, the risk of implementation, then this system moves not really fast. I can tell you it's really slowly. And in the government system, if you can push the elephant to the trailer begins to move away. So you have to be rushed to reach your trailer. In Hungary, in the last 20 years, we tried to build a step-by-step system in forest fire management. The first step was the EU Twinning Light project. Directly after joining to the European Union, we tried to develop data gathering methods, because if you have good data about your fires, you can develop communication and also other prevention action. So you need data. And if you try to learn the good practice in Europe, and you can find a lot of good practice in Europe and around the world about forest fire management, you can save a lot of money, and you can invest your fire prevention money for adaptation and for new things. And it was step-by-step building methods in Hungarian fire prevention. The FIRELIFE is a small life project, or middle-sized maybe. We are alone in the project, and we have a larger group who help or work. They are from target groups and from stakeholders. In forest fires, sometimes stakeholders and target groups are overlapped. It's a strict rule in life that you have to divide the stakeholders and target groups, but sometimes they are the same. For us, for example, forest owners are the stakeholders in communication, but they are our target groups in capacity buildings. In this case, you need to clarify in your proposal that you have the same group in two rules, and I think the Commission understands it if you send enough data for that. Okay, I check the time. We produce a lot of different training materials for different target groups. It's very important in communication that you need to send just the short information to the target groups. If you send too much information to the target groups, they will not read it. And if it's possible, you need many figures in communication. We have different placards and advertising materials for children, for forest owners, and for other target groups. We produce more than 150,000 different placards for Hungary and more than 500,000 advertising material distributed in different ways. It's very important, and you can save a lot of money if you find connected distribution techniques. So not the project distributed or go to the post to send this material to the target groups, but you find some other organization, for example, fire service or forest service, which can you help in distribution. We have also spatial material for children's, and sometimes these spatial children's materials are more effective also to communicate with adults. I can recommend it for you. The adults like playing. We have also a jumping castle for forest fire prevention. We are the first Hungarian authority who has a jumping castle. Jumping castle help you to get some, if you have a jumping castle, the children's coming to you, and you have 5-minute chance to give information for the children's. If you have older children's, like 10 years, you have 10 minutes, and with adults you have 15, and maybe it was the background about the presentation, 15 minutes. So, but I have not here a jumping castle. You can save a lot of life, money, and other EU sources if you make win-win communication, if you find partners in the business. For example, I can produce 200,000 advertising material, but I cannot bring it direct to the forest workers, but still can do that. We do together, we put still as a second line supporter on a material, but still put a small windows in the steel catalog in Hungary that be careful with the forest fires. And they produce 3 million pieces of this catalog, and they send it to the people. So it's not our cost. We can send the message, and both parts can win with this business. We had the same business with the decathlon and with the placards. We have also direct communication with the people. It's very important that the project have a direct communication with the target groups. You can get direct feedback, and you can modify your former concept. So sometimes you need another way to reach your goals. We distributed more than 2,000 boards to the forest about forest fire prevention, also to the motorways, many larger size of boards. We have also a training program on 2 different levels. We train more than 200 forest officer, nature protection officer, and firefighter officer about fire prevention, or no, this more than 1,000, and the other advanced level forest fire training was more than 200. So some picture we have, certainly also website. And I have 2 minutes. I received.
You have
3
enough time, so you can.
Yeah, it's the last presentation. I have to keep the time. So I received 3 questions from the organizer, and they told me that I cannot leave Croatia before I give the answer for these questions. So I tried to list my answers. We say at forest fire suppression that the best way is the keep easy way. So which programs we used as background, so I showed this list that it was a step-by-step building in Hungarian forest fire prevention system. So Hungary is a newcomer in the fire business, but we use the fire paradox and the Eurofire projects, and we also try to learn from the parallel live projects. For example, we receive a very good media training material from eFire.com Live Plus project. It's still running. Sometimes it's not easy if you play in a live project to find the former European Union projects. It would be not bad if European Union would develop a big database where we can reach everything, because the you have to keep your own website 5 years or 10 years long maybe. But we have a lot of very good products 20 years ago. In the 90s, we had a lot of good fire prevention projects. If the project leader was a government organization, maybe you have a chance to find the material. But if it was an NGO or if the government have a big change, you have no chance to find really good former European Union developed materials. The next questions. We think so that a forest fire life project had a catalysator function in Hungary. We could help also for other fields, also for fire suppression and for other fields of fire prevention, with our training and with our communication, because decision maker heard about fire problem, and also the media worker learned that we need also to speak about forest fire in spring and before the fires. It's not a good way if in TV and radio you heard only about the forest fires when they burn, still burning. We should speak before the fires, that how can we prevent these fires. We could change the Hungarian legal environment, also the forestry and the fire prevention legal environment, to adapt it a little bit for the climate change and for the people. It was too strict law, and the law, the effectivity of the fire prevention law was really low. And we could reach that the forest fire prevention subsidies get a priority in rural development plan and also in the agriculture innovation subsidies. We could bring forest fire prevention in national education programs, so all children get a book in 6 years old and 12 years old, which have information about forest fires prevention, also about how can they make a campfire and how can they surprise a campfire. And we have also some connection to the National Hiking and Recreation Program. You can save your life money if you put your information to different programs. So it's a really cost-effective technique. So we see so that many projects in Hungary start to use our win-win communication techniques, and they try to find their own partners in the business sectors who can help them to distribute the material and the information and the project goes. And also some nature protection, nature management life project started to use the prescribed burning as a land management tool in Hungarian grassland areas. If it's a good plain land management tool, we will have not so much forest fires, so we can also reduce the air pollution. And we try to make a follow-up with the FIRELIFE Stage 2 project. We submitted already to the Commission, and we have the hope, as every other project. In the next stage, we try to adapt the European Union GRC Fire Weather Index to the operational level. How can we use this European Union research as a fire ban, as a daily fire ban? We will see that. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for the translation. And